Okay, I am going to start letting individuals in. And as you come in, my request is to go ahead and pull up your chat box. And, whoops, I need to get out of there. Pull up your chat box, pull up, just introduce yourself and where you're coming in from. I am in lovely Ohio at the moment, and it's turning dark. Not loving it. That's okay. All right. And I'm curious if you're in sunny weather, if you're on my same time zone, what that all looks like on your end. Okay, I've got one more thing to do. I'm going to hold tight for 2 more seconds as we all get set up here.
Recording in progress.
All right. I apologize. So again, go ahead and pull up your chats, please, and pull up your, I guess you don't need to pull this up with me. I keep letting individuals in. So welcome. What I would like for you to do is shut off all other distractions if those are going on for you. I would like for you to come in and just settle with me today. Grab your cup of tea, your coffee, whatever sounds good. Maybe it's just hot water and just enjoy this hour together or 45 minutes, whatever it turns into, of time to just be together, of taking some deep breaths. And we're going to learn something today. And that is my promise to you is that we are going to do this unlocking your potential strategies of weight loss, behavior change, and overcoming barriers. And I'm going to give you tangible takeaways. It's not just about coming and listening. Like, I would love to see you with pen and paper and jotting down some notes and understanding what, if I'm mentioning a topic, how does it relate to you? How can you like immediately spin that to your own examples and to what your needs are out of today? So, if you don't mind, start introducing yourself so I can make sure that we are visually able to see all of that. I see, hello, Jennifer. Hello, Peggy. I feel like we lost somebody. Hi, Lita. Heather disappeared. I don't know where Heather went. Welcome, welcome. Where are you from? How are you doing? Are you ready to do this? Say yes, please, for me. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Thank you for being here on time. I appreciate it. And if you need to go, not a problem. Feel free to jump on, jump off. We're going to, again, stay muted and keep our visuals off. And it's just your opportunity to not feel like you're on the spot. You just get to listen and make this your own. Hi, Jennifer. Oh, that's the other thing that I wanted to say. In the chat, make sure that it says to everybody, because if it's just going to me, I'm the only one that's going to be able to see it. Okay. And I wanted to just start off with a little, can you imagine? Can you imagine saying yes to something that's truly just for you? I'd like to get a little bit of the gauge of the personalities that are on here today with me. Do you feel like you are in the camp of it is difficult to say yes to things if you know it really is just for you? Is it much easier for you to say yes to something if it's going to benefit your family or if it's going to benefit your kids or if it's going to benefit your spouse? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's really hard to believe that when we do take this time to settle in and do something for ourselves, a lot of us feel like it's selfish when the reality is it's self-serving. And we're serving in a sense of we're filling our own cup so that we can go pour on to others. We can take that energy that we gain the confidence that we gain from giving ourselves time and energy, and we really do have more of that to give back to others. So even if you are a total serving personality, my promise to you is giving yourself time and energy truly does still serve others as well as yourself. And we all know that when we're in a healthier spot, we can serve so much better, right? When we have energy, when we're in a good mood, when we are ready to go conquer the world because we feel good, then we serve better. Okay. So I do want to start with if you were getting any of my emails and going, weight loss, that's on my bucket list. Like that's on my 2025. We are going to hit weight loss today, I promise. But we also need to loop this in with the idea of behavior change. And behavior change is one of those funny things that it kind of feels simple, possibly to some individuals that they go, I know what to do. I should just do it. Like this behavior change should be simple. And if you're agreeing with me, give me a little like thumbs up in the chat box that yes, I feel like it should be simple, or yes, I've heard myself say I know what to do and I just need to do it. But then the reality is that it's difficult, right? Or that we don't totally know what to do, or else we'd already be doing it. And so this is where I want to dive in today. And it's really just the best way to set this up is to first talk about like really understanding our why we care about that weight loss, why we care about doing any behavior change, or why we care about self-discovery or bettering our health. And the first thing that you can always do for yourself, I'm a little bit of a broken record with this, but is to ask why until you cry. Okay, that's really important, and we'll kind of go through an example of this, but I want to lose weight. Okay, gotcha. Why? Well, because it does in general make me feel better. It makes my GERD go away. It makes me have more energy. It takes pressure off my knees. Okay, cool. I hear you. So, why? Well, because if the pressure's off my knees and I'm feeling better, then I have quicker yeses on doing things like walking around at a holiday festival or traveling with family or spending the night places. Okay, why? Well, because if I'm able to do these other things, then it means that I'm spending more quality time with maybe kids or grandkids. And then I'm not nervous about my body being able to make it through. And I'm not nervous about being left behind. Okay, why? Well, when my energy's better, my knees are better, my joints are better, and I'm not nervous, and then I'm at the amusement park with my family, or I'm at a festival, or I'm doing a vacation, I'm being very present. And that is my ultimate want is to walk through this life present and enjoying those individuals that I'm around. So you can see that this like chunks its way down through why why is it so important? Yes, weight loss is a piece of it, right? And we're fighting for that. And I promise we are. But there's a bunch of other onion layers in there that are going to continue to be huge, huge motivation for you. That the weight loss is paired with a lot of these other metrics of success, which we're going to talk about. All right. So when we think about, um, sorry. Okay. When we think about other metrics of success, we don't always want to focus just solely on that number on the scale. I know it's exciting, but at some point it starts to maintain, which can get really frustrating, or it doesn't match up, pair up really well with the efforts that are being put forth. Okay. And so we need to, since we just said the ask why till we cry, and then we're figuring out all these other reasons why we care about the weight loss, and then what are the other metrics of our success, we're starting to understand that we have different puzzle pieces that are falling into place, right? Like if we could measure our energy, if we could measure our mood, if we could measure our sleep, if we could measure the number on the scale, puzzle piece, puzzle piece, puzzle piece, puzzle piece, right? So, my question to you is, are you currently tracking your wins or your other measurements of success? And if you're not, we need to. And I also have a survey for you if you would like it. And it's a survey of success survey of our successes. And it's just a different way to be able to view all of this. And so your job leaving me today is to figure out how you want to track your success. Okay, this needs to be a mandatory thing. When you can look back at how you're tracking your success and how many efforts you're putting in, it is what carries you through those plateaus. It's what carries you through the frustrations because you can look back and go, no, 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 I am working at this. I am succeeding. I will get there, but I just need to hang on. And so one of them can be just a habit tracker. It can be as simple as a piece of paper where you just have labeled out, I'm tracking my water intake, I'm tracking a food logging, I'm tracking movement for the day. And when you do it, you're just Xing your boxes or doing a little check mark. So that works really well for some people. They just leave it by their computer during the day or in their kitchen. Maybe you have a daily planner that you show up to often, and that works really well too, to just write down your successes for that day. A lot of people use their daily planner for so much more than just the scheduling aspect. They use it for, yes, talking about their wins, also their things they want to accomplish, also just the little thoughts that pop in their head throughout the day. So to use a calendar or a planner works really, really well. And then you can look back over all of those calendars and planners. My phone people, there are wonderful apps that measure success as well. So, like, you would give your app three things that you're tracking, and you'd go in and just click a button that you did it. And then it'll be like, you succeeded 6 out of 7 days of measuring this tool, of measuring this actionable step. So I'm obviously not giving you a whole picture here, but you do, in fact, need to find some way to measure more than just the scale. Promise me that you're going to do that. Okay. Tell me in the chat. I promise I am going to do more measures of success. All right, we are going to do something really fun together today that I believe holds a lot of importance. And it's this whole idea of building an identity statement because it's very hard to track what we're successful at, where we're going, if we don't really even have a clear picture of where we're going. Okay, so if you've never heard of an identity statement is this idea that we're going to paint a very clear picture of what we want for ourselves. And today we are going to use ChatGPT. If you've never used this tool, it's an AI tool and it's a free tool. You can get it on your computer or your iPhone. I don't know about my Android users. You're going to have to let me know if it works for you. But we're going to use this tool. And what you're going to do is you pull up ChatGPT. And for instance, I asked it, hey, ChatGPT, could you write an identity statement for someone who's looking to live a lower, I gotta pull down my chat box here, live a low sugar lifestyle, learn to love their body, and be excited about exercise. Okay, so that would be like somebody who's kind of chunking down through things that they're like, man, I would love to see myself this way. I'm sick of binging on sugar and feeling like it has power over me. I am sick of being mean to my body. I am sick of hearing I hate exercise come out of my mouth. I would like to envision myself differently. Okay. So ChatGPT helps us with a response where it now says, I am someone who values a healthy, balanced life and nurtures a positive relationship with my body. I choose foods that fuel me, embracing a low sugar lifestyle that supports my well being. I find joy in movement and stay excited about exploring way to stay active, building strength and confidence each day. All right. So I love this response, but I will say one of my things that I really like out of identity statements is something very short and concise where you can almost memorize it and have it come just flowing out of your mouth. So I asked ChatGPT, would you mind shortening that to like a one sentence phrase for me? And it was like, sure, no problem. So the shortened response was, I am someone who nurtures my body with mindful choices, embracing a low sugar lifestyle, joyful movement, and a positive approach to health and confidence. Okay. And so I want to give you a this was a real life moment that happened a little bit ago. I have a client who's working on living the low sugar lifestyle, and she was at a party of some sort and lots of food choices. And when she was looking at some of the dessert choices, her identity statement, she vocalized this to our membership group. She was like, I remembered my identity statement and that I was wanting to envision myself living a low sugar lifestyle. So when I was looking at these dessert choices, I was asking, does this align with my wants, with my future wants of me, my future self, with my identity that I'm trying to build? And she came to the conclusion that no, it really didn't, and that dessert wasn't worth it. And she was able to walk away without this huge deprivational feeling because that feeling was going to come from, I can't have it. I won't have it. I'm not allowed to have it. And instead, she was working off of it doesn't align. I'm working really hard towards something, and that choice doesn't align with that new version of me. So there's just kind of some peace behind that. So I want to give you one more example. And this is where, if this was you, you would be doing the same thing, plugging into Chat GPT your wants. Okay, so let's say we asked it this time, could you write an identity statement for someone who wants to stop smoking, start exercising, and choose healthier foods in appropriate quantities? And the response was, I'm someone who prioritizes my health and well being, making choices that support a vibrant and balanced life. I let go of habits that no longer serve me, replacing them with energizing exercise and nourishing foods and portions that honor my body. Each day I grow stronger, healthier, and more in control of my journey. Again, I liked it. It felt too long. So the shortened phrase was, I am committed to prioritizing my health by letting go of old habits, embracing exercise, and choosing nourishing foods that balance and balanced portions. So I think that these are just like great jump off points. You might be able to create one that aligns even better for yourself. But for now, I just feel like to get started, to have an AI tool help you get started, because for a lot of us, we don't feel creative. We don't feel like we can like nail it down in one sentence. I have that in my journal. I work off of my identity statement every day as well. So if you could build this, if you could figure out a deep, passionate why and build your identity statement, I'm telling you, that would be amazing. I let go of my chat box. Thank you, Jennifer. You're being my chatty one. I appreciate it. I feel like you're out there listening. Okay, so moving along, we are. Okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for or ultimately seeking, then how would you know what to change? This goes back to that building the direction, and then the not perfection part comes in this, okay? Because like we're going to keep working towards that identity, but there's no way you're going to uphold that identity perfectly, especially when you're just practicing at it, but maybe never. And this boils down to that whole if you change nothing, nothing will change type of thinking. We need to change. So as we talk about weight loss today, you cannot separate the weight loss happening from the need of behavior change. Okay, those two things have to go together because the behaviors have to change in order to see change on the scale, right? Okay, so I want you to hone in on that, and then we're going to go through this little exercise. I feel like it's better when I give you these things one by one, is why I keep separating this out. Okay. The way that we normally think about behavior change, we do things in a way that I'm going to set a goal. So I'm going to run through these quickly. I need to drink more water in my day. I'm going to make a goal to drink 64 fluid ounces. I need to eat more fruit in my day. I'm going to make a goal to eat 2 to 3 extra servings of fruit. I should have extra healthy snacks with me during a school day so I'm not starving coming home. I'll make a goal to pack extra snacks. I should have, I should move more. So I'm going to make a goal to walk 10,000 steps. I should be building in more me time, more self-care time. So I'm going to make time for 30 minutes out of my day to read. That'll be a goal. Okay. So we've all been taught to set goals. And that's not a bad thing. Okay. Smart goal setting's not a bad thing. Goal setting's not a bad thing. I believe in it even. But what we're not taught is that we need to understand what we're fighting for or what the goal is, but then we need to also understand that there is an entry point into those actionable steps, into those goals. And oftentimes when I'm talking with clients, we're missing the entry point. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about here for a second. It's this very small action that you could be taking that's going to lead to that next bigger action, which ultimately leads to the next bigger success. So let's focus on the right side of this table for a minute. If the action that we're trying to achieve is drinking more water, then an entry point, these are real client conversations, by the way, that I was having. My client was like, my entry point to that action is when I'm in the kitchen, I'm going to reach for a glass. Because once I've reached for my glass, I'm already then walking it over to the refrigerator, filling it and drinking it. But when the reach doesn't happen, then the rest of the action doesn't happen. Or another client example was she'd really like an apple as a snack in the day, needed the fiber, helped with bathroom issues, all the fun stuff, right? She was aiming for that apple. But instead of saying she's going to eat the apple, she's like, let's do the behavior change or the entry point as I'm going to put an apple in my lunch bag and I'm going to take it out of my lunch bag and put it on my desk so it's visual. That's what the action, the promised action is in the day is taking the apple out of the bag and putting it on the desk, not actually eating it. And I promise I'll make all this makes more sense here soon. So another action step, eating healthy snacks throughout the day. The actionable entry point step is just getting them packed in the first place. So pairing that with like a lunch packing. And then maybe if you're trying to aim for purposeful walks in the day, this client found that her entry point was offering the neighbor. She had an elderly neighbor that couldn't walk her own dog. And so she felt better about serving somebody in her neighborhood. And by serving her neighbor, she was getting her walk in by walking the dog. The me time and reading, if that's the actionable step, then maybe an entry point is bringing a Kindle to an environment where you'd actually use it or setting it out visually at home. Have you ever had those moments where you're like, I keep saying I want to do this and it's still tucked away in a corner somewhere? The book, laying the book out. Okay, so I want to give you more examples with this. But the important part, a huge takeaway that I want you to hear from me today, and write this in the chat. I want you to write, I hear you. If you really are understanding what I'm saying and you're understanding the importance of this, please say, I hear you. I can promise myself that I will put on my tennis shoes in the morning when I get dressed, but I cannot promise myself that I'm going to go for a walk because what if it doesn't happen? Okay, so this is just another example of somebody making a promise to themselves. But what if they promise themselves, I'm going to walk today, and then something happens, life goes screwy, and they don't fit in the walk for themselves? Now, that promise is broken, and this is where self-trust can start to diminish. Okay. I can promise that I will pack that apple in my lunch and set it out on the desk, but I cannot promise that I'm going to eat the apple because what happens if I don't eat the apple? What if coworkers take me out to lunch? I never get back around to my lunch bag. I never eat the apple. Then I have broken the promise that I set for myself. This is a really big deal because when we break promises to ourselves, it happens day after day, month after month, year after year. And at some point, I have so many clients who tell me I don't trust myself anymore. I do not trust myself to show up to the walk. I don't trust myself to show up to the healthy food choices, to the meal logging. Once I stop, once my momentum's broken, it's broken. I don't go back to it. So there's like this trust, well, everything's going perfectly, but there's lack of trust when things aren't going perfectly. And it's because they've seen themselves not do it before. trust broken. So what we're doing ultimately by doing these entry points or by doing very small actions that we're going to promise to show up to and then actually show up, we're rebuilding that trust. And guess what? When the trust gets rebuilt, the momentum flows better and the weight loss happens. This all feels like such a side item, but it all points back to weight loss and it all ends up being a wonderful side item that one day we go, huh, our pants are feeling looser. Cool. Okay. So I want to brainstorm together a little bit. I want you to be thinking about if this was your own actionable step, if it was your own goal, and if you feel brave enough to do it, put it in the chat. But what is something that you've been trying to show up to and you haven't been, or you don't all the time? And then can you think through what a different entry point to that goal could look like that could actually look a little more tangible? I'll give you another example. Just if water's been on your radar and you find that you're never drinking enough water, maybe your entry point is actually filling a huge glass in multiple areas. One goes out in the car, one goes by your bedstand, one goes in your kitchen, and you have to drink it before you start sipping your coffee in the morning. And I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse with this, so I actually might kind of skip along, but we're going to. Entry points are important. Okay. I would highly recommend doing something like this, where like you have a sheet and on one side you have your action you're trying to achieve, and on the other side you have a behavior change or an entry point. And these are our examples we just went over, and then you'd start to plug in your own. Okay. So let's talk about getting results and breaking down limiting beliefs. Because if you have a sneaky little limiting belief happening and you're not even aware of it, most times we have no idea they're going on. Okay. It can actually be stagnating our results, sabotaging our results, or just giving us zero hope that our results can actually happen. Okay. So I'm going to keep teaching through real life examples. But this was a conversation this last week at a client who said, I don't understand why I can know that I need to show up to my stretches and to my walking so that I can actually be prepared for this trip to Greece that my family and I are taking in the next few months. However, I'm watching these weeks go by and months pass and I'm not doing anything about it. Like logically, it was making zero sense for her. And then it was frustrating because I know I want this. I want this so bad, and I am not taking steps to do it. So I was like, okay, like let's really talk about this today. Let's really pull back onion layers and see what's happening. So one of my questions to her was, do you really believe that your body will be trained and ready for this trip through the stretches and the walks that you are trying to show up to? Okay. And her next thought was, that's interesting. No, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like this small amount of effort that I'm supposed to be putting in is actually going to pay off or make any bit of a difference. Like she didn't believe that there was a better body for her movement, for less pain, for her travel that was available to her. She believed it's possible for other people. She didn't believe it was possible for herself. So then what was always creeping in for her was it went back to this does it even matter type thinking. Does it even matter that I'm showing up to this because it's not going to work? She wasn't saying that out loud. She wasn't even saying that consciously, but her subconscious brain, and sometimes when we think about like devil angel on each side of our shoulder, or the angel, the positive piece of her that was really wanting to change and go have an amazing trip was like, do this, this will be great. And then the devil piece on the other side of the shoulder was going, does it even matter? Does that 10 to 20 minutes even matter? You're not going to change anyway. Your body's not going to feel any different anyways. And she had this belief system. Okay. So we cannot function off of limiting beliefs. And I will tell you right now that this becomes a big barrier. And if it is a barrier, one of the best things that you can do is pull in professional. If that is a psychologist, if that is a coach, if that is just an accountability system put into place, but we don't always understand what we're up against until somebody else asks the right question or until somebody else hand holds us through this experience, a frustrating experience, a celebratory experience. Like we can get such this bigger overview, better picture of what's happening when we are teamed up. Okay. But limiting beliefs have to be uncovered, or they might be your self sabotage or your stagnation forever. Like, I know that's kind of scary, but like, that's truth. My dog is wanting snuggles. Okay. She can say hi. Say hi, guys. All right. You can sit with me just for today. All right. So let's keep talking about barriers again with weight loss success. All right. I'm going to keep saying the weight loss success because I need you to know that sometimes when we listen to all these other things like behavior modifications and we listen to barriers, we start to almost separate the two. We start to go, I know all this is important, but hey, Lindsay, I told you I wanted to come on today to talk about weight loss. And that's where I'm like, that's all we're talking about today is weight loss and all the different angles that we can come at it to get to it. And not only get to weight loss, but to get to sustainable weight loss. Okay. Because that's really the ultimate want, right? Yes, we want to see results. Yes, we want to be able to maintain those results through things like holidays or through things like vacations. And then we also want to know that we have the power to keep sustaining that through life. Like all these efforts that we've already put in to get to this point, we continue to fight for, and it shouldn't feel like as hard of a fight. Once we put in all this initial work, it should get easier. Never like simple, but we know what actions to pull in. Okay, so overcoming barriers, again, super helpful to have professionals to build accountability systems. And consistency is a word I need you to hear out of me today. Consistency is huge, and then the other word I need you to hear out of me today is resiliency, because we have to build in daily, weekly resiliency, because it doesn't matter what we did today as long as we can recover tomorrow. It doesn't matter what we did for that week of Thanksgiving coming up as long as we can recover when all the hubbub slows down. The faster we become resilient, the better maintenance we start seeing, and even weight loss. Okay. Um, your ability to turn away from diet mentality is a really big deal, because if we can't turn away from just the scale, from just diets, then that sustainable piece down the road becomes really difficult. So we're constantly working of getting away from the diet messaging and finding those other metrics of success that we talked about earlier today. And I would love to hear if you want to jot anything down, but I would love to hear how those are showing up for you in like as you brainstorm, as you journal. What are your metrics of success? What are you going, I would be equally happy if X happened, as well as scale results. All right. And then just really making an intentional goal of celebrating our wins, of acknowledging our wins. And then I would be doing you an injustice if we didn't talk about this very quickly, but the whole knowing what to do and then knowing how to do it are feels like two separate things, right? If we already knew what to do, we'd be doing it. So why do you really think that maybe weight is stagnant? Or why do you really think that your goals aren't happening? And the word that I need you to hear out of here, there's some underlying root cause that's hindering you from getting that next step of results. And if we don't uncover the root cause, then we're always just band-aiding. Band-aid? Why does that work? Sound funny now. Band-aiding things, smoothing it over enough and never like curing it, never getting to that root cause. So let me give you some examples. If pain is keeping you from showing up to movement every day, but you're not acknowledging that, that's a problem. You could be going, why aren't I walking? Well, if you're in pain and your knees hurt after you're walking, it's probably why you're not walking, right? Like untreated emotional eating. If if you're showing up to binging every evening, there is some form of emotion that is not being attended to that needs attention. And this is like an area, if root cause is really emotional eating, depending on any level that you're doing it, we need to uncover that. If not, look for some extra help in that area. Sleep habits, considered the Swiss Army knife of all things health. Sleep affects everything. It's interesting. I should go back, but people will do food and fitness and follow that off the edge of the earth and they never do their sleep habits. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was actually the sleep that needed to change before everything else was going to be able to change. So we have to look at all these root causes. Unprotected boundaries is a really big conversation I have often with clients. And it's another one that, like, if not addressed, you'll probably never get much further than the current success because those boundaries are always going to come back at you and self-sabotage. All right. I've got some resources to offer you, and I'm going to go kind of quickly through these, but I do need you to know I am here for the normal person. I am here for, I really am attainable. Like you can get to me at normal prices. A one-on-one consult with me is $120. But I've got these plans because I believe that the more often we see each other, the deeper the dive we can take with each other, and the more I can offer and be plugged in your ears daily versus just like a session and then I don't see you for weeks, and then a session and I don't see you for weeks. So, my deep dive option that I would like to tell you about is my 12-week course. And my 12-week course does everything from accountability systems, resiliency training. There's these modules that you listen to, you fill out handouts, and we meet one on one once a week. And the original price of this program is $1,800. And right now I'm offering it for $600 because then that breaks down to just $50 a week for one-on-one attention. And then you get all of these other side items that go with it. So 12 weeks of some like crazy consistent accountability modules again and one-on-one. I initially had started this as group trainings, and I'm like, I just love my one-on-ones with people. So I keep steering back that direction. And if anyone was ever like, I have no idea what that would look like, you get a plan, this course that dumps into either your phone or your computer. There's 40 lessons, and then we chunk away at the lessons. You click into them, and then they get marked as completed, and you do your handouts, your worksheets, and then we meet. So it's kind of a fun, very manageable. You do not have to be tech savvy to go through it. It's just click and things pop up at you to complete. I personally really like it. The other thing that I offer is a membership, and I'm opening up, I keep calling it the silver arm of my powerhouse membership because my gold arm has already been up and running for over 5 years, and I feel like that community is pretty set. So I'm ready to open a new arm of the membership and let some members grow together again. And this is an online community, but they do get one-on-one support. And with the one-on-one sessions, then you also get a kickoff at the beginning of the month with an accountability group. And we bring in other professional resources. And then you have a private Facebook group where we do the back and forth with each other. So just lots of that. And one of the things that I like to say with this is when we do accountability week, you can do goals like sleep goals. My mom does flossing goals sometimes. You could work on your family flow. I think outside of the box. I feel like these groups are meant to be what you need in your life. It could be meal planning. It can be water drinking. This remains on a lot of people's goal list to set an intention of it for the month. And I'm just encouraging you today to take action, to do something like this, and just watch what happens when you have the accountability, when you have the resources, when you have the support system. So just reach out to me separately. And I have a challenge for you. This is the brain work piece of this. And instead of asking, Will any of this work for me? Like, I've done a lot of stuff in my past. I don't know, will it even work? The real question is, how will this work for me? This is a difference of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. If you can ask, how will this work for me? Your brain already starts, it takes that how word and starts to search for answers. And that will gives you an automatic, well, yes, it'll work. No, it won't work. So we need the how. We need our brain to search for answers. And you might be doing something like, I think that a 12-week course would work for me because then I'd be waking up to a module and then I could start my day right. And then I could meet with Lindsay maybe midweek and make sure I'm still on track. And then I could do my worksheets on the weekend. Like you could see yourself working through constant attention, prioritizing of your health needs and how that could work for you. This free book a call thing, this is just my way of giving you a free opportunity that we can chat together. Talk it out loud. If you're like, I don't know if anything would work for me, you don't need to know. We can just chat. This is a no pressure. I do have free resources. This is your opportunity to keep dipping a toe in the water. I have my book, Direction, Not Perfection, Accountability, and Coaching from Your Wine Loving Dietitian. It is now an audio book and it comes with the journaling prompts that would have come in the book. And so all of that just gets emailed to you. So you can listen to the audiobook and you can do the journal prompts to move yourself along a little further. There is the weekly podcast release every Friday. I'm so excited about my guests that are coming up. I'm spoiling myself this podcast season with members who have been on before, my guests that I have absolutely loved. I'm 300 episodes in, and I've decided that those are the individuals I've given them personal invites to come back to make sure that I have the people speaking over my community who are giving us the talks that we are all seeking. So I'm so excited about the podcast. I do a monthly power coaching call with mindset and confidence coach Robin Sachs. We will be live tomorrow. If you have an interest in joining me, I will post this over on, if you're not already part of it, my private Facebook page for real weight loss for women over 40, because I know a lot of us exist in that super frustrated phase of what I used to do is no longer working. What's up with that? So lots of resources there and free resources, right? Just options. The same old thinking, you get the same old results. So again, if we change nothing, nothing will change. If you walk away hearing nothing else out of this session, besides the idea that you need to change one little small aspect of your life. Start small, it will ripple over into bigger and then you just get to watch it unfold. Have the faith that there is a new you out there, that identity statement that you're building for yourself. Have the faith that that really could happen. Isn't that pretty cool? Like that could be real for you. And if you need to borrow my faith in you until you can find your own, I've got all the faith in the world that you can make changes and that you can make this lifelong sustainable. I am here for you. I really appreciate you all coming on. Jennifer, Lita, Peggy, Heather, huge hugs and thank you for joining today. And everybody else who is going to get the recorded replay, let me know if you have questions. You can email me or reach out to me through Messenger or on our Facebook page, however, and wherever you actually follow me. So thank you again. Have wonderful days, and I will be in touch.